Hello, hello, guys. Welcome in for another Monday Midday Cruise Q&A. I'm RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures, and happy Memorial Day to everyone. Um, Hope you guys are enjoying. Hopefully, you have a day off today. Hopefully, today's a beautiful day. You're enjoying the time off, and I appreciate you being here for this Monday Midday Cruise Q&A. If this is your first time here, I kind of just open up the chat to answer any and all cruise questions that you may have. Now, I have been on, I'm actually preparing to board my 71st cruise this week since 2019. I am the owner of Major Adventures Travel Agency, cruise focused travel agency. So if you're looking to book a cruise, plan your next cruise vacation, feel free to reach out to us. But I've pretty much sailed on pretty much all of the major cruise lines: Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian, Virgin Voyages, Disney, Celebrity, pretty much you name it. I've pretty much been on them. I just got back off my very first luxury cruise. So if you have not caught that vlog series, I've released, I think, 3 parts so far. The next one may be out tomorrow. That is my hope. So I'm just here to answer questions that you have because I get a lot of questions either in comments on the video. Sometimes I get people to direct message me, and I'm not always able to answer all the questions because I'm just extremely busy with either traveling or the travel agency or creating content. So I go live Mondays when I'm not cruising to answer questions that you may have. I hope you guys can hear and see me okay. I think my mic is on and working. Let's see who's here in the chat. Unlearn and Eat Travel, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Good day to you. Sapphire123, welcome in. Says good afternoon and happy Memorial Day. Blessed Memorial Day. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. Loretta, welcome in. Happy Memorial Day to you as well. Erica Crane, hello, welcome in to you. Natasha V, welcome in, welcome in. Evelyn, welcome in from Facebook. So I guess I am live over on Facebook. Appreciate you being here. Lida Shay, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. Felicia Hall says, finally off on a Monday to catch a live. So glad you were able to have today off. And thank you so much for popping in for this live stream. Adina Collins, welcome in to you. Hope you're doing well. Unlearn and Eat says that hot tub on the luxury cruise looks so inviting. It was. I could go for it right now, actually. It's been a pretty relaxing day so far. We actually had our barbecue yesterday at my brother's house. So today was kind of a chill day. Was up in the garden this morning, so haven't done a whole lot of work. I should be doing more work, but I kind of took the day off as well. Got in the garden, got some work done. It's been some crazy weather here in Ohio. It's like almost fall like weather. I don't get. We haven't really had any warm days, so like even right now, I think it's like 60 or 65 degrees out. So I'm like, I have to get my garden in. So that's what I've been working on pretty much all day. Cruising Charlie, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Says, have you been on Valiant Lady? We've never been on Virgin Voyages. Any thoughts or tips? So, first cruise question. Welcome in, Cruising Charlie. So yes, I have been on Valiant Lady twice. I was on Valiant Lady. There was a 48-hour sailing with a celebrity DJ that I was on with my husband. I did not vlog that one. We kind of just enjoyed it for our anniversary. And then I was on Valiant Lady again with my sister, I think in October. And if you guys have been following me from the very beginning, I went on Virgin Voyages probably when they were about a year. They had only been sailing for about a year, and I did not like Virgin Voyages, but I have since sailed, I think, 2 or 3 times. And I personally like Virgin Voyages now. They've made some updates, some changes. I would say some tips and tricks. Well, you do know that it's the only adults cruise line, so prepare to not be around any children. Make sure you do your specialty dining reservations 45 days in advance. So 45 days before your cruise, specialty dining. Remember, specialty dining, basic Wi-Fi, essential drinks, which would be like juice, coffee, non-bottled water, things like that are included, and sodas. But the specialty dining, which is complimentary, they do start making the reservations 45 days before the cruise. And it can be challenging. They do hold a certain percentage, I think like 20% of the reservations for those who wait till they get on board. But if you are like me, like I like to eat around 5:30, 6 o'clock. So if you have a preferred time, it's recommended that 45 days before your cruise to make sure that you log into the app and make those dining reservations because they do sell out quickly. You can still try to snag some once you get on board the ship, but I say do it as soon as you can. But other than that, plan for Scarlet Night, which is their biggest theme night. So make sure you pack something scarlet or red. But yeah, you'll have a great time on board. I don't know. I think I have some other tips and tricks in the series, so be sure to go back and watch that. Um, let's see here. Evelyn says, me as well, able to catch a live stream. Appreciate you being here. Natasha says, it's 95 here in Southwest Florida. Yeah, not here. I mean, it's beautiful here, but I'm kind of ready for a list. Yeah, I could use a little bit of warm weather. Sapphire says, did Andrew have a wonderful birthday? He did. Andrew, if you guys didn't know, Andrew's birthday was 2 days ago. He turned 20 years old. So he had a great birthday. Birthdays look different, as you get older. So he spent the day with his girlfriend. Andrew has a girlfriend. And so she came over and they watched a movie. And then we all went with her and Andrew to dinner at Olive Garden, which he loves pasta. So we went there and that was pretty much it. Daphne, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Erica says we're going from hot to rainy in Georgia. Yeah, we haven't gotten much rain, but it's been pretty cold. Ellis McKinley, welcome in. Hello to you. Hope you're doing well. Game Changer, hello. Welcome to you. Says hello, Q and chat family. Crazy fall temperatures here also. Yeah, definitely. I understand. Erica says, besides Carnival and Royal, which cruise line is Jo Marie's favorite? Probably Disney. I would probably go with Disney if it's not. Carnival would be her number one, probably followed by Disney and then Royal. And actually, speaking of Jo Marie and I will be boarding Ovation of the Seas this week. If you're a channel member, you already know this. We were invited on board by Royal Caribbean. Ovation of the Seas is a ship that's currently sailing in Japan and it's making its way over to the West Coast and they're doing like a welcome ceremony and all of that, like a preview inaugural sailing on the forgot which day, the 31st. So the 31st, Jo Marie and I will be boarding Ovation of the Seas. So we're excited for that invitation. We'll have a great time on board. Welcome in, my cruising family. Appreciate you being here. And if you guys did not catch, because I meant to message you, Peta, as well, that I didn't get that email. So if you guys missed the live stream, I think it was on Wednesday, where we did a battle of the cruise ships. We were talking MSC World America and Norwegian Aqua, kind of comparing. There was a panel of us cruisers, content creators, just kind of talking about MSC World America versus Norwegian Aqua. Be sure to head over to my cruising family and check out that live stream. Let's see here. And guys, if you have any cruise questions, go ahead and drop those in the chat. I'm going to try to get right into answering those questions. I'm only going to be live for about an hour today because I do want to enjoy this day. So, I enjoy it with you guys, but I want to enjoy it not working. So, if you have cruise questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. Cruising Charlie says we have all those booked. Thanks. Our first time out of Miami too. We just got off Utopia of the Seas, and she was fantastic. Nice. Now Miami, they are experiencing some delays right now because of the whole MSC, the new terminal. So make sure you add some cushion for your travel time to get through the port of Miami because it can be kind of congested. I recommend either if you're able to check in first. They actually Virgin Voyages they have a later embarkation time. So you should be perfectly fine. But if you have an early, like 11 a.m., it can be pretty congested. So you should be fine with Virgin Voyages. But hope you have a great time. Desiree says no cruise. Nope, not today. Not today. The next cruise will be Jo Marie and I on Ovation of the Seas this weekend. And then literally I come home for I think 2 days and then we're headed to Seattle because we're going to Alaska. So we have the whole family will be going on board Quantum of the Seas the first week of June. So it'll be a quick turnaround coming back home, getting packed and going back or headed back to the West Coast. Welcome in, Lucina. Appreciate you being here. 11B23, hello. And guys, we have 67 people watching. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers. And if you're looking to plan a cruise vacation, feel free to reach out to Major Ventures Travel. We would love to help you. 11B23 says, hello, does MSC have the white party on Ocean Cay for most cruises, or was that special for World America? Unfortunately, that was special for MSC World America. The white night party typically does not ever happen on Ocean Cay. It happens on board the ship, but they will have, if you have an overnight stay at Ocean Cay, because there are some itineraries where you'll spend a full day and sometimes almost 2 full days at Ocean Cay. Sometimes they will have some sort of beach party on, like the Lighthouse Show party, but it's not always white night, so it kind of just falls differently. But yeah, the white night party that you saw on MSC World America for the media sailing, preview sailing, that was like a unique thing that they did just for that sailing. So you're not going to find that on other sailings. But again, if you do an overnight, they will have some sort of dance party, whether it's tropical night. It could potentially be white night, but it won't have the DJ set up or none of that that was present during the media sailing. So, but it made for a fun time. Let's see here. Welcome in, Cassandra. Appreciate you being here. Desiree Hall, thank you so much. Jocelyn says, before I book any Carnival cruise, I always watch your video for that ship. Very helpful. I appreciate you watching. And if you need help booking your Carnival cruise, feel free to reach out. I'd love to help you do that as well. Um, Young Speaker says, can you post a list of the 70 cruise ships you've been on? This will give me a good idea of what cruise ships to ask about. I could probably do that at some point. I have pretty much all of the cruise ships. There might be a couple missing on my, what's it called? Shipmate, but my Shipmate app is private currently because I used to post, or I kind of keep track of my cruises through the Shipmate app. What was happening though, because of the nature of the business, being a content creator, especially doing this full time now, as well as having a travel agency, I may publish that I'm going on a certain cruise, and then something may happen and I have to cancel because either I got an invitation elsewhere or another opportunity came up. So I stopped publicly sharing my list of cruises because I thought I was going to be on board the ship and I'm not, because I had to cancel for whatever reason. So I a list of the ships that I have been on. There's also an app that I saw recently where you can put all of your cruises in and it kind of maps out. I think it's called Cruise Map, or Globe something, and it kind of tracks like your nautical miles, how many ports you've been to, all of that. So I think when I do get to the point where I'm going to compile that list, I'll probably do it through one of those apps. Felicia Holmes, but you can ask me about any cruise line because for the most part, I've been on pretty much all of the cruise lines, except for some of the luxury or river cruises. I have not. Felicia Holmes, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Desiree House says, what's your favorite cruise line? For the family, my favorite cruise line would be Carnival. We just love Carnival. Carnival for its value, Carnival for its fun, and for families. So we love Carnival. Me personally, I'm going to be very biased right now because I just got off my first luxury cruise. Before I got on Explore Journeys, my favorite cruise line I probably would have said was Celebrity. I'm going to now say it's Explore Journeys, but it's kind of hard to say that because one's luxury, one's kind of mid-luxury. But I'm gonna say right now it's Explore Journeys. For now, we'll see. But I pretty much like all the cruise lines. There's something about every cruise line that I like. If you were to ask me which one is my least favorite, I have a definitive answer for that, and that is Norwegian Cruise Line. Just I don't have a good vibe with Norwegian. It's just not my cup of tea. And speaking of Explore Journeys, Sig the Solo Cruiser, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. If you guys are enjoying my Explore Journeys series, be sure to check out Sig the Solo Cruiser because she was on it a few months before me and has a lot of content, tips, and tricks and things for cruising a luxury line. My cruising family says, thanks for the plug. I will send again. I hope it goes through this time. Yeah, it's probably just a large file. So yeah, I didn't get it. And then I thought maybe it sent it to me as like a Google Drive link because that happens sometimes and it's not in my Google Drive either. Felicia Holmes says, can you help with booking third-party excursions if we book with you for the cruise? So yeah, so that's the thing. Our agency, our services are free. However, we only help plan excursions and transfers and things like that if your cruise is booked through us. If your cruise is booked through us, we can help you plan excursions, whether it's through the cruise line or through the third-party vendors, which we use like Viator, Shore Excursions Group, places like that. We can absolutely help. And if you guys missed it earlier, I did post a reel about the difference between using like a ship's excursion versus third party. And I gave some ideas as to who may want to book with the ship and who may want to do things on their own. If you are a first time cruiser, I always recommend booking through the ship. It just makes that first time cruise experience a lot easier. You have that return to ship guarantee. They organize the times for you. They figure out where you need to go for transportation. And if the tour is delayed for any reason, the cruise ship will not leave you. So if you're a first time cruiser, definitely book your excursions for the first time through the ship if you plan to take an excursion. Another question that I actually got earlier today, I think on TikTok, someone asked, do I have to get off the ship? You do not. When you take a cruise, you do not have to get off the ship. You can choose to stay on. Some people do. I tend to get off pretty much every port that I go to. I think there's only been a couple of times where I've actually stayed on, and that's if it's like a rare ship or a cruise line that I don't cruise very often. And let's say it's going to Nassau again, and I've been to Nassau literally 40 times or so now. I probably will stay on the ship, but I say get off the ship, explore, whether it's through the cruise line or third party. But yes, if you book your cruise through me, we can help with any excursions, hotels, transfers, everything but flights. Game Changer says, excellent all star panel. My vote was MSC World America. Yes, definitely. MSC World America won. Natasha says, my 15-year-old wants to zip line in Honduras with her dad. I am a hard pass. Have you ever done a zip line? Just worried about her safety. Well, the way my weight is set up, I have not done a zip line. So it's not something that I honestly have ever really wanted to do. I may at some point because I do think my weight limit, I think I can do some zip lines. A lot of times they do have weight limits, so keep that in mind. I do think I can do a zip line. It's just not something that has thrilled me to kind of hang and glide. And I don't have upper body strength. And just, I know that I won't be able to hold myself up. So I would need definitely, of course, there's going to be some sort of safety harness. But yeah, it just not something I've ever wanted to do. But for the most part, zip lines are safe. They're going to have the harness. They're going to have safety features. One in Honduras, I can't think of which one that might be, but I've had clients that have done zip lines. Our kids have done zip lines and never had an issue. So they will make you sign a waiver. A lot of times they will check weight if they think, you could be overweight, and sometimes you could be underweight too. So a lot of times those zip lines will have a minimum weight as well as a maximum weight. So I think she'll be fine. But safety first. And if you, as mom, have any concerns, I'm sure there's other things to do in Honduras. You can go see the sloths. That's pretty cool there. Felicia Holmes says, second question, is your Christmas cruise full? We do still have, I think, 3 cabins left at the group rate. Once those sell out, I think we have 2 interior, maybe 1 balcony left. We don't have any more Infinite Ocean View cabins. After those 3 cabins are sold, then anything else that we book will not be at the discounted group rate. It'll be at whatever the prevailing rate is for MSC World America. So yeah, if you're interested, definitely reach out to get booked. We have, I don't know, 28 cabins, I think, booked on that one so far. So if you want to join us for Christmas on board MSC World America, definitely reach out and get locked in at the group rate that we have that does include drinks and Wi-Fi. And our current rate that includes drinks and Wi-Fi is cheaper than the rate online that doesn't include drinks and Wi-Fi at this moment. Jaretha says, question, getting ready for my trip to Athens in 2 weeks on Virgin Voyages. Nice. Did you wear compression socks for the long flight trying to decide if needed? Yes, I always wear compression socks. If my flight is going to be more than 3 hours, I wear compression socks. It just helps with blood flow. It helps keep your energy up. It helps prevent blood clots. So I personally wear them pretty much if it's more than a 3-hour flight, like I'm headed to California, I will have on compression socks. It's just for me a safety thing, to prevent blood clots, and it's supposed to help keep you like blood flow and keep you kind of refreshed. So yeah, I would definitely recommend compression socks. And then even if you don't wear them for the full flight, because sometimes compression socks, if you get the wrong size, they can be too tight. And you don't want that. So, sometimes people like my sister, she'll wear compression socks and then she'll take them off at some point during the flight and then put them back on. Do that as well. But I would say if you're going to Athens, you're going to need them because your flight is going to be at least 7 hours, depending on where you live. So yeah, I would definitely recommend getting some compression socks. And I don't use a particular brand. I have them off of Amazon. And they do have different sizes depending on the width of your legs. But hope you have a great time there in Athens. We're headed to Athens in August. Cruising Charlie says their check-in is 2 p.m. There's supposed to be only 2 ships. So yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be perfectly fine. All right. We have 80 people watching. Appreciate you guys being here for this Monday Midday Cruise Q&A. And if you are new, I am RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures. We are a cruise vlogging family. And on Mondays, I go live to answer questions that you may have about cruising. So if you have questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. I stay live for about an hour and a half to answer your questions. And if you aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing to our channel and check out some of our cruise vlogs. We have quite a bit of cruises coming up this summer, I think 7 over the next 2 months. So make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell turned on. Let's see here. Lady O, welcome in. Says happy Monday. I'm glad I was able to catch you live. I'm normally at work this time on Mondays. Yes, I'm glad you were able to join in. Erica says my kids enjoyed Ovation. We took it to Alaska. Nice. Nice, nice. So we'll be on Ovation for the 3 nights um out of Long Beach, and it goes to Ensenada. And then for our Alaska cruise, we're gonna be on Quantum, so the sister ship to Ovation. Let's see here. Good question, Drea. It says, I'm glad to catch your live. I saw a few of social media posts that Carnival's doing an adult only sailing. If true, is this a one time occasion or is it something that Carnival's trying out? So, this is the thing. You probably have seen some posts about Carnival doing, I forgot what they call it. They're actually calling it SEA, sailing exclusively with adults. So, this is what happened. Carnival Conquest was scheduled for a dry dock. I don't know how or why, but the dry dock got postponed. So anytime a ship is scheduled for a dry dock, those sailings or those, however many, it might be like a month or two, they don't release that ship to be they don't release itineraries for that ship because it's going to be at dry dock. Well, the dry dock was scheduled for this August and it got canceled or whatever happened to it. So rather than have the ship just sit idle, Carnival decided to test out these adult sailings. Now, my understanding is at this point, it's just going out to casino players. So it's not something that you can go online and book. They're kind of keeping it exclusively for those casino players. I did get offers for it for free ocean view cabins, I believe. So they're going to make money by having people get on board, even though the sailing is free. Guests still have to pay taxes, fees, port expenses. And I think some people they might still have to pay like a discounted casino rate. But people are going to get on board. They're going to gamble. They're going to drink, and so Carnival's going to make money rather than having that ship just sit idle while it waits for its dry dock. So it's only on Carnival Conquest, and I think it's through pretty much the month of August, or maybe the part of August through beginning of September. I don't think Carnival has plans to make like a cruise ship all adults, but who knows what could happen after this happens. And I don't know whether they're going to open this up for non-casino players to get on board or not. Not sure at all. It kind of just came out, and we didn't like as a travel advisor. I didn't get like advance notice of this. I think I saw like in the Melanin at Sea group somebody posted about it. Then I inquired. So yeah, so it's right now only on Carnival Conquest, and I actually did get some offers, but they're like 9 to 12 night sailings. The itineraries are kind of nice though, compared to what Carnival Conquest now runs or now operates. But I'm going to be on Carnival Conquest. We have a group cruise this July 21st through the 25th, and then I'll be on board July 18th through the 21st, the first sailing going to Celebration Key, or the second sailing, I should say, because Vista's going before us. And I've already been on Conquest 2 or 3 times, so I don't plan to get on Conquest again. So I wouldn't do the 9 to 12 night sail. Nothing wrong with Carnival Conquest. I just have no purpose of getting on the same ship multiple times. I'm only doing it for this group because we want it to be the first going to Celebration Key. Let's see here. My cruising family says excited for your Ovation coverage and Quantum. Thank you, thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm really excited for Alaska. I loved it. Belinda says, afternoon, are you hearing good things about Celebration Key? I honestly haven't heard anything about Celebration Key. I haven't received any updates on it. I'm honestly, like I said, we have a group going in early or mid-July. I'm honestly wondering if it's going to be 100% ready by then. And I suspect that if it's not going to be ready, Carnival probably won't even announce it until right before the sailing, because this is the thing. It's not like, you guys do know that cruise lines can change your itinerary. That is in your cruise contract. They can change your itinerary at any given time and not give you compensation. So this is just me, and I could be totally wrong because I feel like I'm not seeing enough updates. There are a couple of things if you go on YouTube where Christine Duffy has done like a couple of walkthroughs to certain areas of Celebration Key. It just doesn't seem done enough for me. But then again, I don't know anything about construction, and I've literally seen houses go up in a few days. So they could like magically throw it together in the next less than 2 months. Who knows? But what I think could happen is if it's not ready, they will just turn that itinerary into Freeport or Grand Bahamas. So if you aren't familiar with Celebration Key, it is Carnival's new private destination. It is not a private island, it is a private destination. And it is located at Freeport, Bahamas. So if you are booked and you look for like the shore excursions, pretty much 70% of the excursions offered for Celebration Key Day are actually in Freeport. Um, so Carnival could easily just say, unfortunately, we got delayed. Celebration Key is not happening and won't be open, but enjoy your day in Freeport. Now, Freeport is not one of my, it's probably one of my least favorite ports. And so there's not a ton to do there. So I would be a little disappointed, but just know that Carnival could do that. I don't know though. I have not heard or seen a whole lot of updates. And as a travel advisor, like we're not necessarily getting a bunch of updates on what's happening. So I don't know. I'm kind of tracking it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm hoping that it'll be ready once we sail. But I also understand being one of the first cruise ships to visit there, there's probably going to be quirks. There's probably going to be things that happen, things that won't be ready. And I understand that completely. Let's see here. My cousin family says, "What are you looking forward to most on Ovation?" I just have not been on this class of ship, so just really exploring the ship. And it sounds like Ovation is even set up differently than like Quantum. So really just to check out the ship itself. Um, I want to try, I have not done, was it called Wonderland? I have not done that specialty dining, so we're hoping to get there. So really just exploring the ship. There's really not one thing that I'm really excited for. Um, I think just really exploring the ship and I think kind of getting a heads up what quantum will look like because it's really nice to have a firm understanding or layout of the ship before you get on the ship. So it's nice that I'm sailing Ovation, and then for our very intimate group cruise on Quantum, I'll already kind of have an idea of where things are and not have to stress about that because But yeah, nothing really in particular. I'm curious to see what they're going to do for this welcome ceremony. So there's not going to be like an official naming ceremony or anything like that, but it's supposed to be like a welcome event. So I'm curious to see if they're going to have like any special guests, like if you've done any preview sailings or any inaugural sailings, sometimes they'll have special guests, sometimes celebrities on board. So I don't know. They haven't really hyped this up. So I don't know what to expect when we get on board. So we'll see. We'll find out this weekend. Regina welcome in says, good afternoon. The Battle of the Ships was great. The weather is 73 in New Jersey. Nice. Nice. Vanessa says, after your first luxury cruise, is it a type of cruise you will continue to cruise regularly? Absolutely. Now, not as regularly as I'm cruising, not as regularly as I'm cruising other lines. No. A luxury cruise could possibly happen once a year now. Once a year, maybe twice a year, depending. Now, if I'm hosted or for cruise line sponsors, or if I get a really, really good travel agent rate, then I would do it more than. But at this time, luxury will probably happen like once a year. Compared to I cruise probably 15 to 20 times per year. I think a luxury I would slip one in there maybe once, maybe twice a year. We'll see. I'm actually on a wait list right now for another luxury line. I always say it wrong. Oceania. They have a ship coming out. It actually comes out, I think, in July, but it's coming to the US and it's doing a 4-night sailing out of New York. And I'm on the wait list for that, but I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. So but I would love to get on another Explorer Journey ship. And the funny thing is, and I'll talk about this in my overall review of Explorer Journeys, sailing on that luxury line, there were people that have sailed, like they only sail luxury. And if you guys don't know, Explorer Journeys is the sister company to MSC. So they're kind of considered more of the budget friendly luxury line. They are pretty much the cheapest luxury line out there right now. But the people that I talked to that spent, you know, $15,000 on like a Seabourn luxury cruise or Regent Seven Seas, a lot of people said that hands down, Explorer Journeys is better. So now I'm really curious to try some other luxury lines to see how they compare to Explorer Journeys. Let's see here. My cruising family says, I know you love Alaska, so you must be super excited about your Quantum of the Seas. Yes, definitely excited for Quantum. We have some nice plans for Alaska. I'll be working with Short Excursions Group for one, maybe two of the ports. So we'll have some really nice excursions and some things going on there. So really excited for that. Matthew Hankerson, welcome in, says about to book a MSC Seashore cruise. Any advice? Yeah, we do have. I have two different series for MSC Seashore. One where I kind of scoped it out before a group cruise, and then last July 4th we took a group of 145 on MSC Seashore. I would say it's just like any other MSC cruise. I do have a vlog that's very specific to first time cruisers for MSC, and it gives you all the tips and tricks that you need to know. Just know that I'm trying to think of a few tips off the top of my head. Um, First off, if you're about to book, reach out to me. I can help get you booked. But if you keep in mind, MSC has different tiers as far as booking. They have Bella, which is going to be your guaranteed cabins. That's going to offer you the best value. They will assign your cabins. So don't get too caught up with the Bella, Fantastica, Aria Yacht Club. Those are just different tiers that they offer. Fantastica is going to give you more flexibility and you get to select where your cabin is. Aria is going to give you some different perks, like you'll get champagne and chocolates in your cabin. You can do my time dining. It gives you access to like a exclusive deck. Then yacht club is a whole nother experience. Trying to think, MSC Seashore, I would definitely recommend doing some sort of specialty dining because anything below MSC World America or MSC World Europa, pretty much your dining is going to be buffet main dining room unless you do specialty dining. I would recommend getting some sort of specialty dining package. Also with MSC, if you are a drinker, or even if you're not a drinker, but you need bottles of water, you need soda or coffee, I would recommend taking advantage of their drinks and Wi-Fi promotion. I always try to encourage clients that reach out to book to do that. And then I would say probably 20% come back right before they're sailing and say, hey, I was adding on the drink package and the drink package is $400, but I remember you saying that the drinks and Wi-Fi promotion was only like $200 more than what I paid. Can I just do that now? You can't. Once you lock in a promotion with MSC, you're stuck with that promotion for the most part. Um, and so if you think you're going to drink or if you need Wi-Fi, just lock in the drinks and Wi-Fi promotion. It is going to be a better value than if you add those things on separately later. It's a really good value. If you're taking kids, MSC I think currently has kids sale free, and MSC their kids sale free is up to age 17. So it's not like Royal Caribbean where kids sale free, but it's anyone that's 12 and under. It's up to 17. So take advantage of the kids sale free, and that's on guests 3 and 4 in the cabin. So it can't be like you and a 12-year-old. It has to be, they have to be the third or fourth guest in the cabin to be free. You still pay taxes, fees, port expenses, all of that. But um, I can go on and on and on about MSC, but definitely check out my MSC Seashore vlogs. We have a group cruise on MSC Seashore that we had 145 people join us. And I do have a specific tip and tricks for MSC on the channel. Cruising Charlie, that is the name of what I was talking about. It says, do you use a cruise globe? That's what I'm going to probably put my 71 cruises on. So I will be checking that out. That's the name of it. Young Speaker says, have you ever sailed on Independence of the Seas? Looking at YouTube videos, it seems old to me, even though it's renovated. Friends want to go on it. I have been on Independence of the Seas, but I went on a very short 2 night sailing. So my vlogs are actually old because it was like when I first started vlogging. So I would not necessarily look to that for any good information. But I would say if it's the itinerary that you're looking for with Independence, which I think right now it's doing like Labadee, trying to think of what Independence is doing. It it's not my favorite royal ship. It is in that Freedom class ship. If you want that size ship, go with Freedom of the Seas. Freedom of the Seas for me was better than Independence. It was more updated. It just felt more vibrant to me. Independence of the Seas wasn't bad. It just wasn't my favorite. And I don't remember the last time that Independence underwent a dry dock. So I'm not sure about that. But if you're trying to go to Labadee, I think Independence is one of the few going to Labadee right now. Evelyn says, what is the app that you use to prevent jet lag? It is called Time Shifter. Time Shifter. I use that and usually like a few days before. Help me make sure I'm saying the right name. It's Time Shifter. Yes, Time Shifter. A few days before my cruise, I'll just put in my flight information and then it'll ask me, do you plan to take melatonin? You can select yes or no. And then what it does is it kind of sends you alerts to let you know when you should avoid daylight, when you should try to go to sleep, when you should take your melatonin, when you should stop drinking coffee. So it'll give you some ideas of when to, because ideally when you cruise or you're traveling abroad, you want to try to adjust to the time that you're going to be in as quickly as possible. So let's say I get to Greece, which our upcoming Greece group cruise that we have, we'll get to Greece like at 6 a.m. We're going to be exhausted because our bodies are going to say that it's like 11 p.m. at home. So we're going to want to go to bed, but the app is going to try to do what it can to, it's going to give you notifications to try to stay up. So it's going to say, get some sunlight, stay up, walk about, because I shouldn't, I mean, we probably will take a quick nap, but we really shouldn't go to sleep once we get there because then it's going to take longer to adjust. You want to try to stay up during the time that you're in wherever you are, whatever time it is, you need to adjust to their time. So the app just kind of helps you start settling into that. And it really does help with the crankiness behind jet lag, and just that feeling tired. So, I mean, it's not like 100% proof, but it definitely helps to have that schedule to know when to stop drinking coffee, when to take your melatonin, things like that. Let's see here. My cruising family says Explorer is coming for them. They are. They are for sure. Mickey's Adventures, welcome in. Happy Monday to you. Appreciate you being here. Nat Wash, hello to you. Um, Sig says, thank you for the shout out. Yes, Explorer Journeys Bump Celebrities top spot on my list. Yeah. And I know it's hard to say because they're two separate, like Explorer is true luxury, Celebrities mid luxury. But yeah, it's really knocked it out. And guys, if you're looking to cruise on Explorer Journeys, because I've literally received probably 5 or 6 messages since I started posting my series asking when am I doing a group cruise. I'm not. I'm not, at least not right now, but Sig the Solo Cruiser does have a group cruise next April 2nd through the 9th, and I'm actually going to be on board. So if you want to join in on that, it's going to be a great time. I'm really excited. I was wondering if was going to squeeze Explorer in before then, but I don't think I will. But it'll be back on Explorer 2. So the ship that I was on, it'll be back on that ship. And Sig was on Explorer 1. So if you're curious to see that one, pretty much the ships are identical. But if you want to see Explorer One, definitely check out her vlogs. Thank you so much, Mickey's Adventures. Says match the number of thumbs up with the people in the chat. We have 122 people watching, so it would be amazing if we could have at least 100 thumbs up before the end of this cruise Q&A. Let's see here. Quality Chowker says, what hotel do you recommend for Seattle that's close to the port? I honestly, it's hard for me to do a lot of recommending of places that I haven't done a lot of. I've only cruised out of Seattle twice. And one time we stayed at the airport, one time we stayed downtown. I would recommend if you want to be as close to the cruise terminal to stay downtown. The issue with staying at downtown, so if you're downtown Seattle, depending on which pier you're at, it's just a couple of miles away, so you can Uber easily. The issue is the hotels are really, really expensive in downtown Seattle. And if you are someone that's going to go off and explore, also keep in mind that there is a large homeless population in downtown Seattle. So if you caught our series where we went to Alaska for the first time as a family, we stayed at the Marriott. No, we stayed at the Grand Seattle. I think it's called the Grand Seattle, right downtown. Kind of pricey. When I say pricey, I'm thinking like 350 a night. That for me is kind of pricey for a hotel for an overnight stay. We did stay there for 2 nights. Sorry, guys, my shoulders. We did stay there for 2 nights, and we went like we were literally like a 5 minute walk to Pike's Place, or Pike's Market, and a lot of the things right there. But we literally would have to walk past. Um, homeless sleeping on the street, people taking drugs, things like that. And so we had conversations with our kids as they were seeing it because that's not something that they've really been exposed to at home. And so, we use it as a learning opportunity for them. But I personally would not recommend staying there, especially if you're by yourself or if you're with young children, because you will have some explaining to do if your kids have not experienced that, which again, teachable moment, to it's a teachable moment. So, as far as the airport or a hotel at the airport, I have not found one that I could say that I highly recommend. We will be staying at the Holiday Inn, SeaTac. A lot of the hotels there by Seattle Airport they have bad reviews and they can be kind of pricey as well. So I think for the Holiday Inn, we're spending like $200 a night. And it had some of the better reviews, but a lot of the hotels there just aren't. It seems like the hotels downtown have better reviews, but they're a higher cost. The ones by the airport are somewhat kind of mid pricey, but they don't have as nice reviews. So I honestly can't recommend from experience a hotel either way until I've done it like 5 or 6 times. That's when I can say yes, for sure, this hotel is the one you need to go to. Hope that makes sense. Young speaker says, "Do you have cancel for any reason travel insurance? Do you buy an annual insurance or just for each cruise?" I have an annual insurance policy that I used to purchase it for each cruise. Now I have an annual policy, and the annual policy does not have cancel for any reason. If I think there's a possibility of me canceling a cruise, then I sometimes will add on the cruise line's insurance. So for instance, like right now, I have a cruise on the schedule that I think there's going to be a conflict with. I did add on the cruise line's insurance because it does have that cancel for any reason. So I could use that. Also, something to know, and take with this advice as you want. Don't do any like insurance fraud or anything like that. But I have some underlying medical conditions. If you have underlying medical conditions, sometimes depending on that condition, you may be able to get a full refund. Like it doesn't always have to be like with insurance. It doesn't have to be, I have the flu today. I can't cruise. I need to cancel. For me, it could be that I have a flare up and my doctor will recommend that I not travel. So if you have underlying conditions where you would be able to, because of your condition, to get a note from your doctor to say you can't travel, it's possible that you could get refunded that way without the cancel for any reason. But if I know that I need to cancel because of, let's say there's a conflict, like right now it could be a college visit because we're working on that. If I think I may have to cancel for something like that, then I will add on the cruise line's insurance because it comes with cancel for any reason. You can get third party travel insurance that includes cancel for any reason, but a lot of times it's a lot higher. But my annual insurance does not have that. I think I could have added it on, but I don't. Because for the most part, I'm not going to cancel unless I'm ill. Um, Mickey's Adventure says Happy Memorial Day. Let's see here. Game Changer says, "Are you still planning a cruise that goes to Barbados?" I'm working on it. I gotta finalize my 2026 schedule, but yes, I am working on it. Mickey's Adventure says, "I did the zip line in Labadee, Haiti. It was exhilarating." Hmm. Michelle says, "What is the best time of the year to get best cruise rates?" So the rule of thumb is to book your cruise far in advance, so a year to 2 years in advance to get the best rate. The days of last minute cruise deals really aren't like they. You might every so often find a drop last minute, but usually it doesn't happen because cruise ships sell out now. You're not typically going to get on a cruise ship that's not sold out. The best time of year to lock in the best rate is a year or two before your cruise. But if you want to save even more, you need to book off season. So don't plan to cruise in the summertime. Don't plan to cruise during holidays because that's going to be when cruises are most expensive. So think cruising like September through beginning of November. That is considered off season. And then like January through beginning of March, that would also be considered off season. So you're going to have the cheapest rates then when kids are in school. That is going to be the best time to get the best cruise rates. And I feel like it just kind of changes all the time now, but just know summer's going to be the highest cost. It's not going to be cheap at all. And like I've been getting cruise inquiries and people are like, "I want a summer cruise for $300 a person." I'm like, sorry, that doesn't exist, especially if you're looking for summer 2025. It's not a thing. Young speaker says, "Do you wish you had skipped being an educator and went straight into travel agent years ago?" No. No, I have no regrets being an educator, being a school principal. If you guys are new here, I'm actually a doctor of education. Went to school for educational leadership, was a school teacher for years, educator for or administrator for 12 years, and left 2 years ago. Actually, I just completed my second full year of doing this full time. And so I have no regrets being an educator. And if I needed to ever go back, I would absolutely go back. Um, I would absolutely go back. So no, I don't wish I went straight into this. I do wish I would have possibly taken my first cruise before 2019 because there's no telling where I could have been by now. As I'm getting older, as you get older, they say a lot of people wait to travel till they get older, and it's one of those things that I wish I had have done it because, guys, I'm not as young as I look, but I wish I would have started like in my 20s, my 30s, to really start traveling because I feel like I probably would have been to a lot more places than I've been. But no regrets on being an educator or being a school administrator at all. The agency's doing well. I'm very thankful for that. But I honestly think too that the agency does well because of my background, or partially because of my background, as far as being an educational leader. Just even the content that I share being more educational based, and just operating a business, you have to have certain skill sets. And I think having gone to school, earned my doctorate, it kind of gives me some of those skill sets that have helped me to be successful. So yeah, no regrets at all. Lady A says, do you think you'll have another ladies cruise abroad in 2027? If so, when do you think that will be announced? um, be very honest, I don't know. This is the thing. So I feel like my goal as far as the travel agency and the goal as far as our channel is to help encourage people to want to travel and step outside of the boundaries with travel. Um, because there's so many people that, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like there's so many people that either don't travel or they stick to, I'm only going to the Bahamas or I'm only doing this. So I kind of like to share my vlogs and share my experiences so that maybe it'll encourage someone to say, you know what, I want to try to do that. So the group cruises have been that. The group cruises have been, you guys saw me do this. Now let's do it together. So for instance, Greece. I was in Greece. If you guys have not been following, I was in Greece last August. I went solo. I vlogged the experience. I shared the experience. Then I announced a group cruise. Um, and I think people, for the most part, have good intentions when, like, you announce a group cruise. If anyone's planning a group cruise, you probably know how this goes. So you plan a group cruise, you get tons of people interested. You might even get tons of people to deposit. But when it comes down to it, by the time it's all said and done, those numbers dwindle. So for instance, our Greece trip, we started off, I can't even remember the number. We were well over 100 people for our Greece trip. And then as payments were being, needed to be made and this and that was happening, we had people canceling. Some people had to cancel for medical. People had to cancel because of the economy. We get that. But then we had some people that just from the very beginning, they weren't sure. They didn't know if they could afford it. So it's just a lot of planning, a lot of effort to get such a high demand or for people to ask, will you do these things? And then it doesn't have the turnout that you expect, if that makes sense. So like our Greece trip, we're going to have right now probably close to 50 people, which I'm super excited for. I think those that are there are, they were going from the very beginning and it's going to be wonderful. But the same case with our Sisters of Cruising Abroad. We are currently up to, I don't know, maybe right around 20 cabins. And so we have a nice sized group, but I can almost guarantee you by the end of it, it's not going to be that. So, and that's just kind of the nature of groups. So it kind of makes me take pause with going abroad and planning groups abroad because I think people really have good intentions, and I try to be as transparent as possible as far as this is what the potential cost is going to be. A cruise abroad is more expensive than a Caribbean cruise. That's just fact. And you also need to make sure that you're able to have cushion because if you have an issue abroad, you need to be able to get yourself back home. And so I don't know. I'm gonna wait to see how Greece goes. And then probably after Greece is when I'm going to make a determination whether I'm going to go abroad with a group in 2027 or if we're going to stick with something more local, not going abroad. So we'll see. But anticipate if I do something for 2027 that I'll announce it after August. My cruising family says, yep, I agree. Wear compression socks for long flights. Yep, absolutely. Let's see here. Game Changer says, enjoy, enjoy. I love Greece. Greece was amazing. If you guys missed that vlog, be sure to check that out. Be sure to check that out. A chickadee, welcome in, says, hey, all of us cruise loving people. Yes. Charlie, Cruising Charlie says, and Cruising Charlie, you have a channel. I'm gonna have to make sure I follow you if I'm not already. He says we are doing our Princess cruise next year. We will be trying their new ship, Star Princess. Can't wait. I will be on board Star Princess for the U.S. inaugural and possibly the media sailing. So stay tuned for that. Really excited for that. Had a good time on Sun Princess. So Phil Indies Travel Spree, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Hope you guys are doing well. Are you out of school yet? I know today's Memorial Day, so you're probably off, but hopefully you're going to have a good summer of travel. Um, let's see here, just scrolling. Anthony, welcome in, says, did smoke from the cigar room on the luxury cruise waft into other areas of the ship? It did not for the most part. So that, what was that bar? I can't think of the name of the bar. It's like the whiskey or gin bar. It did right there in that area. That was kind of where it was confined to. And then there was I think the Explorers Lounge or whatever that lounge is right beside it. It did not go over there at all. So yeah, I wasn't bothered with it. Um, Welcome in, Keisha H. Appreciate you being here. I actually thought of you today because I'm in my garden right now, and I'm like, Keisha's garden's probably fully blossomed, and my little seedlings are just now getting in. So I look forward to seeing your updates for your garden. Felicia says we're going into November to Celebration Key. I keep getting ads from Carnival to book stuff there. There's honestly not a lot to book there for Celebration Key. A lot of it is like day beds, cabanas, things like that. There's really not a whole lot for Celebration Key. It's really a beach day. Welcome, Analia. Appreciate you being here. Game Changer says the Greek food is authentic, and we found a pizza restaurant too. Nice. Let's see. I'm scrolling looking for questions. Felindy says, "Oh, it was. I knew who it was, but ribs, brisket, and chicken are always going to be well done. Burgers and steaks, not so much." So you guys barbecuing today? We had barbecue yesterday. Is it Margine? Says hello, RacQuelle from Snellville, Georgia. Welcome in. Let's see. I'm just scrolling looking for questions. Young Speaker says, how to decide between Alaska cruise versus Caribbean? What is the purpose of Alaska cruise? They seem a bit boring. if you are if you like nature, if you like wildlife, you're going to like Alaska. If you don't care for nature, you don't care for wildlife, you don't care for scenic views, Alaska may not be for you. Alaska is a lot more, the cruise itself is a lot more slow paced than a Caribbean cruise, just the whole vibe on the ship. People are there to learn about the wildlife, they're there to learn about the glaciers. They want to sit out on their balcony and enjoy the mirror like water. I mean, it's something that I recommend everyone at least try once. They do have sampler Alaska cruises. My sister's actually on one right now in Princess, where you can just go and kind of get an idea of what Alaska would be like. I mean, honestly, as far as making the decision between Alaska or Caribbean is really whether you want warm or cold, honestly. Although Alaska is not always as cold as people make it out to be. When we were in Alaska the first time, we packed coats and gloves and scarves and all that, and we honestly didn't even really use that stuff. If we did, it was like first thing in the morning out on our balcony as we were going past glaciers or going past, whatever. It was cool in the morning or cool in the evening. But when we were in port, for the most part, we just had on like a sweater. And a lot of times we had to take those off because it was 70 degrees. So the purpose of Alaska, honestly, is the scenery, just peaceful. It's a very serene cruise, and just the experiences there. Yeah. The other thing you need to consider too with Alaska is the cost, because again, our Alaska cruise was originally a group. Now it's very intimate. We have less than 8 cabins, but we had probably 20 cabins at one point. It's the cost. Alaska cruises are expensive, not necessarily the cruise itself. The issue though is that people use Alaska as a bucket list cruise. It really is a bucket list cruise. When you start adding on the cost of the excursions and the food and things like that, it adds up quickly. I mean, think of this like a whale watching excursion, like we're doing whale watching excursion in Juneau, you're looking at $200 a person. Family of five, that's $1,000 for us to go whale watching, just to go whale watching. You're not going to pay that going, jet skiing in the Caribbean. You're not going to, it's a lot cheaper for Caribbean. So I would say look at your budget also when deciding whether you want to do Alaska versus the Caribbean, because Alaska is probably not a cruise that you're going to do often. And for me, it's like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it and do it well, and I'm going to experience it. So make sure you plan for those excursions and those bucket list things. Honestly, right now I'm debating. There's an excursion that I want to do where it's going to take me up close to a glacier. We did it on our first Alaska cruise. $20. So right now I have to ask myself, do I really want to get that close to a glacier by boat? I don't know. So it may happen, it may not. So you guys stay tuned for the vlogs. We'll see. The Cam fam, welcome in. Good afternoon to you. Appreciate you guys being here. Welcome in Together We Travel. Thanks for being here. And welcome into the 145 people watching. I really appreciate you guys being here on Memorial Day, and happy Memorial Day to you all. And if you aren't familiar with me, I'm RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures. We are a cruise volume family. I'm also the owner of Major Adventures Travel. So if you're looking to plan a cruise, feel free to reach out. I would love to help you. I've been on 70 cruises since 2019, preparing to go on my 71st cruise in the next few days. And so just I go live whenever I can on Mondays to answer questions that you may have about cruising. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. I'm going to stay live for about another 15 minutes and then I'm going to get out of here. Welcome in, Event Yours, the Spirits. Welcome in, Tanya. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Erica says, wow, MSC, let me go look. Yeah. Now, when I say Explorer is a budget cruise to MSC, or it's like the budget friendly luxury line, it's a high budget, but it's lower compared to other luxury lines. So you might pay, I don't just throwing some numbers out there. You might pay 7 night cruise for two people on Explorer Journeys, $7,000. That's high compared to probably 2,000 on a regular cruise line. But if you were to look at like Seabourn or Regent Seven Seas, it might be 10 to 15,000 for the same cruise. So when I say budget, it's budget compared to the other luxury lines, not budget compared to other cruise lines. So just keep that in mind. Candy says, hello, Raquel. You have really inspired me to look into solo travel. What are a few tips you can give to someone who has never traveled alone on a cruise? Which cruise would be a good solo? Um, and so let me just say this. I only started solo travel kind of by default because I started doing this full time. Initially, it was always the family. We would always cruise together. That's why we're MH Family Adventures. But then once I took this on full time, with the kids being in school, my husband working, it's like, okay, I have to continue. If I'm doing this full time, I need to do it full time. So now I'm doing a lot more solo travel. I would say maybe start small, start with like a 3-day cruise. I think that's kind of where I started. Actually, my first solo cruise was on MSC Divina in 2022, I think. I would say start small to see if you have a feel for that. You could even start before your solo cruise. So if you want to get a feel for what it's like to be by yourself, go have dinner in your community by yourself. See if that vibe is for you. I'm perfectly okay at all times being myself by myself, so it doesn't bother me at all. So I would say kind of practice that way and just kind of go out places by yourself and see if that's kind of for you before you spend money on a solo trip. But if you're going to cruise, do something small, do like a 3 night. You can find some really, really cheap solo rates on like MSC. Like literally, I just booked one for myself for $200. 3 night cruise, $200, and that's the solo rate. So I would say do that to kind of start, and then as you start feeling more comfortable doing it, maybe add on days, and then if you feel even more comfortable, then start taking it abroad, which is kind of what I'm doing now. I'm going abroad. Um, I would say make sure you're always in touch with someone at home. Like my family's my sister Cheryl's always tracking me, my husband's tracking me, the kids are always tracking me. They know where I am. I leave a full itinerary with them as far as where I'm going, what I'm doing, what tour providers am I using, so that they kind of always know if they can't reach me, who they can contact to reach out to check in for me. Um, I would say solo cruise lines. MSC has some really good. They're not necessarily solo rates, but because their cruises are so cheap, you can get one guest. Like I said, I just booked a 3 night Caribbean for two. Actually, I booked two. I booked a 3 night Caribbean for $200, and I booked a 3 night abroad. I'm not going to announce that right now. And it was like 167 or something weird like that. I did share that with channel members, but I would say Virgin Voyages has some solo cabins. So if you want to do adults only, check out Virgin Voyages. They do have solo insider and solo ocean view cabins. Norwegian, although I'm not a huge fan of Norwegian, they are probably the top cruise line as far as having the number of having a nice size amount of like solo cabins on their ships. So check out Norwegian, Virgin Voyages. Royal Caribbean, some of their ships will have solo or studio cabins. You can check those out. But like Carnival, unfortunately, Carnival does not have, unless you have a casino deal or something with Carnival, a lot of times, I mean, you're paying double occupancy. So for me, solo cruising on Carnival is not really worth it unless you have a casino deal. But take it slowly, start at home, maybe build it to a 3-day cruise and then do longer as you feel more comfortable with it. And they do have solo, pretty much all cruise lines at this point have solo cruiser programs, where you can meet and greet and meet up with other solo cruisers. That's not my style. But if you guys follow Sig the Solo Cruiser, check out her channel. She does that kind of stuff. I don't. So it depends on your style. So I'm pretty introverted. So I'm fine getting on a ship and not necessarily going to those solo meetups, or going to the bird crawls and things with other solo cruisers. Whereas some people are. So if you like that kind of thing, just know that the cruise lines will offer that. And they usually leave something in your cabin that'll say, here's what we have planned for our solo cruiser. Sometimes it's hosted, meaning there's someone on the cruise ship that's going to kind of join you guys together. Sometimes it's unhosted, where you might just meet up and then just kind of mingle amongst yourselves. So yeah, good luck on that journey. Margine says, where are you getting a cruise globe from Amazon? It's not on Amazon. I think it's called cruiseglobe.com. Is it Emma Cruises? Is she the one that is kind of really pushing that? It's an app or something. Sorry, I gotta get some water. It's not on Amazon. It's not on Amazon. Love and B23 says, during my first inaugural sailing on 11/7, Star Princess, I'll see you on board. Any tips on inaugural sailings? Just go in with an open mind. There's going to be glitches. Well, let me take this back. So Star Princess is going to start sailing out of the Mediterranean first. I think it starts in September, maybe. So some of those kinks should already be out, but just anticipate, first off, that there could be some glitches. There could be some longer waits. Everything may not be fully set up or fully ready. They might be readjusting some things, because like when I was on Sun Princess, they were moving things and adjusting things. And I was on the US inaugural sailing. You have the strong potential of there being a lot of content creators on board, which, like I said, I'll be on board. I know quite a few of others that'll be on board, but I mean, you're going to have a good time. Don't anticipate there being anything special for the inaugural sailing. And I've been sharing that with a lot of clients lately, because I think at one point cruise lines were doing a lot for inaugural sailings, but I think what's happening now is that there are so many inaugural or preview sailings and things, and they're just not giving like gifts like you used to be able to get, like a cruise ship book, or you might get like hats or some sort of like ship model, or you might get something being on an inaugural cruise. It's not going to happen. When I was on Sun Princess, we didn't get anything for the inaugural sailing. So don't go into it expecting things, because you're more than likely not going to get them, but you may get some delays, some snags along the way. That is just expected with inaugural sailings. And if you are somebody that can't handle it, I always encourage people not to book inaugural sailings, because a lot of times people go into it thinking it's going to be perfect because it's like one of the first sailings. That's actually opposite. It's going to, if there's going to be quirks, it's going to happen during those sailings as the crew's getting acclimated to the ship, to the procedures or whatever. That's where you're going to have issues. So if you are someone that, you're not patient, you're not understanding, you don't book an inaugural sailing. But I will see you on board that sailing, because I will be there. Let's see here. Adventure says, I only liked Independence of the Seas due to the escape room. Yeah, they did have an escape room. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it. Let's see here. Adventure says, I love your videos and lives. You're so informative. I share with my family, friends, and colleagues all the time. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Erica says, are you touring around Seattle this time? See if they have the free shuttle. We are. We have plans for Seattle. We're not going to do the same thing we did before. We went to the what do you call it? We're definitely going to go to Pike's Market. But we're not going to do the, gosh, what is it called? Oh my gosh, where you go high up. It'll come to me in a minute. We're not doing all of that this time. I think we're going to the Museum of Illusions for the kids, and maybe the glass museum. We don't really have a solid plan yet. And we leave in less than, I don't know. We don't have a solid plan. We'll figure it out. And we're debating whether we are going to catch the shuttles and the trains like we did last time, or if I'm going to take it easy and just get a rental car. So I don't know. We'll see. Erica says the Embassy Suites SeaTac was nice. Okay, I'll have to add that to my list to check out. Max says, do you find that you make more connections as a TA or an influencer? Connections with the cruise lines, or I'm thinking you're asking for the cruise lines. Um, I would say it's probably even for me at this point. Some of my connections, if you're referring to like getting invites and things, I would say I'm pretty split at this point. I'm working with some cruise lines directly with their media departments. For instance, Princess, I work directly with their media department. MSC, I work directly with their media department. But some other cruise lines, I may not work directly with the media department, or it's kind of split. So I might be working with like my BDM. Um, so I think I'm honestly split. So my connections that I have are, some of it's media based, some of it's through my business development managers because of sales. So it's yeah. Clarify your question, but I think you're asking as far as kind of what, like getting the invites and being on inaugural sailings and things. Do I get it more as being a TA or an influencer? I think honestly having the balance of both, because I know some travel advisors who are only travel advisors. And then I also know some that are just, they're not travel advisors, but they're cruise content creators. And I think having that balance of both and kind of connecting both ways, because whenever I send a proposal for anything, I always mention both. I always mention my travel agency, and I also mention MH Family Adventures, and I mention sales and things like that. So I think that having both kind of has helped me to get some connections. Welcome in, Beauty Queen Dennis. Thank you so much for being here. Says I made it to a live. I appreciate that. Chrissy Charlie says I'm also a travel consultant. Awesome, awesome. Kalia World says I want to go on a solo cruise in March 2026. You should go for it. Go for it. Fun Times with Nancy and Rice says, good afternoon. When will the World America vlogs be available? Any plans to sail on World America this year? World America's already out. World America's been out for a month now. I only did one. Did I do one or two vlogs? I think I did one or two vlogs, and they were longer. And remember, I was only on the media sailing, so it was only the 3 nights. So I think I did one or two parts, but they were longer. I will be back on MSC World America December 20th with a group. We have a group. I don't know how many people right now at this point, but we have 27 or 28 cabins on MSC World America in December, and I will vlog that full experience as well. My husband says, does your husband help with your business? He does not. That's my husband, y'all. And I love him, but sometimes it's kind of cool to keep things separate, business separate from, Erica says, yes, 60s during day, cold for me, one port of rain in Alaska when they wore gloves. Yeah. So the weather's kind of unpredictable in Alaska. You get a lot of rain in like that June, July season. But it can also be really warm. We lucked up our first Alaska cruise. We had no rain. And for the most part, it was warm during port. So we had perfect weather, and I'm hoping for perfect weather this time. Bob says, what cruise line would you recommend for Hawaii? Honestly, there's only one ship currently that's actually doing the Hawaiian Islands, and that's going to be NCL's Pride of America. That is the only one that's doing the islands there. Now, if you are someone that has time to take 15 to 18 days, you could take a cruise pretty much on any other cruise line like Princess, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, leaving from like San Francisco or leaving from California somewhere to get there. The issue with that is you're going to be having like 7 to 8 to 9 sea days and only a couple of port days. So if you really want to experience Hawaii and get to a lot of those islands, the only ship currently doing that from Honolulu is going to be NCL Pride of America. I've heard very mixed reviews about Pride of America. It is something that I hope to get on at some point. Because I have not been to Hawaii. My husband has. I have never been to Hawaii, so I would love to do that. So I think at some point when we do go, it more than likely will be on Pride of America, because I'm just not about a whole bunch of sea days. So you can pretty much take any cruise line over there. It's very seasonal though, so keep that in mind. But you're gonna have a lot of sea days. So if you like sea days, check out like Princess Cruises. They go over. Carnival goes over. Royal Caribbean, but you're gonna have a lot of sea days. Sister Israel, welcome in. Says, where do you go to compare whether or not to book the ship excursions or third party excursions? Like, do you use TripAdvisor or another site? I personally almost always don't use the ship excursions. I mean, I feel like when I go solo, sometimes I use more ship excursions than I do third party for safety reasons. What I tend to do is I go on the cruise line's website to get an idea of what excursions are available, because more than likely, whatever the cruise line has, the third party is going to have, but the third party, they're going to have more unique tours. So it may not be strictly going to this waterfall. It might be we're going to go by this mom and pop barbecue spot, get some jerk chicken, then we're going to go to the waterfall, then we're going to go to this secluded beach. So I usually go to the cruise line's website, get an idea for what excursions are available for that port. And then I use Shore Excursions Group is my go-to. They're also one of our partners. Before Shore Excursions Group, I would go to a website called Shore Excursioneer, and it's still a website. Very similar to Shore Excursions Group. What I liked about Shore Excursioneer is that you can book your excursions and you can filter it by your ship and sail date. So Viator now allows you to do that. So if you go to Viator, there's a section that says cruise. You put your ship's name, ship sail date, and it has your ports, and you can click to see what excursions are available for your port. Shore Excursioneer and Viator, what I like is that you can book now, pay later. So Shore Excursioneer, you put down maybe $5 per person, and then you pay the rest at your tour. Viator, they will charge your card on file like 2 days before your tour. So I like those options. Um, Better than like with the cruise line, because the cruise line you have to pay for them as soon as you book your excursion, you have to pay for them. So I, not that I couldn't pay for it when I book it, I'm just kind of last minute with stuff. I like to pay for it before I go. So um yeah, so Shore Excursions Group is my go-to, but Shore Excursions Group you have to pay in advance. Shore Excursionaire and Viator. Those are my top three that I use to kind of figure out what it is that I want to do. And then yes, I may look at the reviews on like Shore Excursions Group for that tour. And then I might still go to TripAdvisor just to double check to see what people are saying about it. But for the most part, I found the reviews on a lot of those sites like Viator and Shore Excursions Group to be very reliable. To love an adventure. Have you been on MSC Seascape? If so, what did you think? We're sailing in November and again in June on a group cruise. I did not sail on MSC Seascape. I am currently booked on MSC Seascape, and when I mentioned the $200 cruise, that is MSC Seascape. So if you are looking for a cheap solo cruise, MSC Seascape does currently have some, and I think I'm booked for December. So check out MSC Seascape. So I'm booked. I did not sail on MSC Seascape, but that was my very first media event. I was on board MSC Seascape and did a full ship tour. MSC Seascape is the sister ship to MSC Seashore. I personally love MSC Seashore, so I couldn't imagine that they're very different. So because I like MSC Seashore, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like MSC Seascape. Welcome in, Jonathan. Appreciate you being here. It's a public holiday here too. Well, I'm glad you're able to be here, and hopefully you had the day off. Miss Well Blessed, do you ever cruise with NCL? I've cruised twice with NCL, and I didn't like either. Let me take that back. I liked Norwegian Prima, but it was a hosted cruise. And I think with like when you watch the vlogs, I was enjoying it, and I think I was enjoying it for the food and drink. But once I got off the ship, I really had to ask myself, did I really enjoy that cruise? I think I enjoyed it for the relaxation, but I was not really a fan of everything except that I liked everything. I'm sorry, I liked the Donna Summer show that they had at that point, but I don't think I really did any other entertainment. I don't think I liked much of anything else on board. Then I did Norwegian Sky out of Dominican Republic. And if you watch those vlogs, and people will agree with me in the comments, they have agreed with me in the comments, people weren't engaged. They had deck parties, people weren't out dancing, like literally two people. It just lacks the energy that I like in a cruise. And not that I'm a person that gets out there on the dance floor a lot and things. I like to people watch, and I like to see people, especially first time cruisers, out there having fun, and it just lacks that for me. So I am going to try NCL again. I was actually booked on NCL Aqua, and I canceled the day before. And I was booked, I think, for 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I canceled. It's one of those things where, and I always say I have to be business minded because this is a business for me. I booked Norwegian Aqua because I figured, I should be on 110 out, convert those viewers to clients because that's kind of the model that I have. But I just couldn't even force myself to get out there and do it, even though it's a brand new ship. And I'll be very honest, I have some content creator friends that were on board Norwegian Aqua, and I've watched some other creators, and I honestly don't think I missed anything. So I will give NCL another try. It's just not my thing. And like I said, I've been on pretty much all the cruise lines, and there's going to come a point where there's going to be a cruise line I just don't like. And I think that is, for me, is NCL. Ella McKinley says, you may book in solo on a group cruise, and that way you can do your own thing, but still be with other people. That's a good point. Really good point, Ella McKinley. Yes. So if you want to have that safety in numbers and have the potential to like hang with other people and, or also just kind of be to yourself. Cause like our group cruises, like we have our Greece group cruise, our sisters cruising abroad. I have people that have booked our group cruise. And in fact, our MSC show, I had some people book it. I never even saw them. So book a group, and then if you feel like you want to hang with people, then you have a group of people you can hang with. If you want to go on the excursions or tours, you can do that. You don't have to, but at least you kind of know that there's somebody that's going to kind of check in with you, or see if you want to do those things, and you kind of have a group that you can hang with if you choose to. Cruising Charlie says the Cruise Globe is a website. They have a Facebook page. I've heard about it, and I saw somebody post it, and it would look pretty cool. And I said, oh, I might need to do that. Let's see here. And he says, yeah, Amber Cruises pushes it. Cool. Let's see. Aaliyah says, I have mostly cruised MSC Yacht Club and really enjoyed it. For the first time, I'm cruising Celebrity Silhouette in June. What can I expect from the Celebrity experience? Are you sailing in their, oh my gosh, the retreat? Are you cruising in the retreat? So MSC Yacht Club is going to be very different, even though Celebrity. So MSC is considered like entry level cruise line, whereas Celebrity is mid luxury. You're going to get some of that Yacht Club luxury on Celebrity, not being in the retreat. But Celebrity Silhouette is one of those ships that it's one of their older ships. So you may feel like, oh, I'm not really getting that Yacht Club personal experience. You could go retreat for Celebrity Silhouette if that's kind of your style. I personally like Silhouette. I didn't have any issues with it. Um, Celebrity's kind of chill. If you've been on Royal Caribbean, it's probably more chill than MSC. There may be a lot of people, probably less kids on Celebrity, but you're going to find overall some good food on Celebrity overall, for the most part. I think there was maybe one restaurant that I didn't care for on Celebrity Silhouette that I did vlog, but you'll have a great time on Celebrity. I think the entertainment on Celebrity is really good. Their live music is really good. I really did enjoy that, and I have another Celebrity cruise coming up really soon, so on an older ship. Carolyn says, I paid off my cruise for September. When is a good time to pay our gratuities? As soon as you can. I mean, some people decide to pay for them before the cruise so they don't have to worry about it. Some people choose to wait till they get on the ship. So you can do either or, but typically you have to add things on at least a week or so before your cruise because, like, I think you're booked with me. If you're booked with me, a lot of times, like, bookings lock before the sailing. So you have to add on like gratuities or excursions and things, usually about a week, depends on the cruise line, so that you can make sure that those things are added. Hudnall, is it Hudnall? Says, what is the best time to cruise Alaska? Well, the Alaska season is like the end of April through mid to the end of September. So you don't have a huge window. So any time in between there is when you want to cruise. If you want to get the best pricing, you do it in the shoulder season, which would be the beginning of April through the end of September. If you want to see more wildlife, it's better to go early in the season versus the end of the season. If you want to avoid rain, rain typically happens a lot because it can rain a lot in Alaska. June, July, you get more rain than any other month. So you might want to avoid June, July. But also, if on the flip side, if you don't want to be cold and you want to have a better chance of warmer weather, June, July is the time to book for that. And then there's like, if you look online, and I can't think off the top of my head, the different whales and different things, there are charts that will show you the best time to cruise Alaska for certain sightings, because a big part of Alaska would be spotting whales and bald eagles and bears and things like that. So like bears, you're going to see bears better like in August, September when the salmon is spawning or whatever it does. You're going to see bears better then versus if you go in April or May. So you have to kind of, so like we wanted to see bears, but we're probably not going to see many bears in June. So you have to, if there's something that you really want to see, if you want to see orcas or if you want to see humpback whales, there are charts, and I don't want to tell you which month for each because I can't remember, but there are charts that are helpful for when you want to do that. Same thing if you want to see the Northern Lights, which is never guaranteed, but there are times of the year where it's better than others. Let's see here. Teacher Danetta, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. It says, I'm excited for my Carnival Glory cruise in June. Thank you for your assistance. Well, I appreciate you using Major Adventures. I appreciate that. And I hope you're off for the summer and you're going to enjoy some time away from school. Let's see here. Thank you so much, Game Changer, for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to get ready to end here. Um, Deborah says, excluding your Explorer cruise, which cruise ship excited you the most during your past 12 months of cruising? Oh my gosh. Whew. So this is where I need my app, and right now my phone. I'm actually filming this on my phone. And I need my app. That's where I need to pull up my app. Because I honestly, because I've been on so many cruises, I cannot recall where I've been. So it takes me a minute. I will tell you this: the cruise, not the cruise ship, the cruise that excited me the most the last 12 months was Greece. Um, the ship was Celestial Journey. Beautiful ship, an old ship, but beautiful ship. But I love that itinerary. I love that experience of going to Athens solo. Spent a couple days in Athens before the cruise. Went to a bunch of different places there. Went to Turkey. Uh, I can't even remember where I went, but it was just an amazing cruise. So if I'm thinking of a cruise that really excited me over the last 12 months, it would be that one. Cruise ship, the one that excited me probably over the last 12 months, probably was World America. I would probably say it was World America because I was anticipating that one. I am a strong advocate for MSC because of the value that they offer. And I really had a good time on that sailing. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna. So the best cruise would have been my Greece cruise, and the best ship so far in the last 12 months would have been MSC World America. Vegas says, how full was Explorer 2 and did it ever feel crowded? Nope, it never felt crowded. If you watch my vlogs, I was by myself a lot. Like there was like literally no one there with me. We had 532 people. I think that's what it was. 532 people out of 930, and there were only 6 kids on board. So never ever was it crowded. It was beautiful. Now that won't always be the case. I think cruising from abroad made it a little bit different. The time of year as well might, but if you're cruising Explorer out of Miami, which it will do seasonally, or if they're from the Caribbean, it may be more full. So you may have more people, in the background. But I think even still, if you're used to cruising on ships that hold 5, 6,000 people, 900 or so people, it's not never going to feel crowded. So no, I had a really good time on that ship. Mickey says, I did Hawaii and Pride of America. I thought it was really nice. My only thing, I didn't like the freestyle way. That especially didn't work for me for dinner. My husband always pushed the time. Yeah. Yep. I agree with that. David says, are you barbecuing today? I'm not. I'm frying chicken. My brother roasted a whole pig yesterday, which I couldn't eat because I saw the pig. I couldn't do it. I'm weird. I like pork. I just couldn't do it after I saw that pig. But my brother roasted a whole pig yesterday. We went to his house. We barbecued yesterday. So I had some chicken wings that I had out, and I was going to throw them on the grill, but I think I'm just going to fry them up. I have my nephews here with me right now, so they like fried chicken, so I'm gonna fry some chicken. Let's see here. Lorenzo says, good afternoon. Do you know when the Explorer of the Seas will be cruising out of the port of Miami? I don't off the top of my head. I do not. The ships change ports from time to time. I just can't always keep track of those. Carolyn says, are the rates good for 526? 3 for 3 nights going on MSC. I don't know. Send me an email. I don't know off the top of my head. Send me an email. But yeah, I'm sure if you book MSC now for next year and you're looking at a 3 night, it's going to be a great price. I think I might have scrolled back to the top. I did. Okay. All right. Let me go back to the bottom. Let me get ready to end this chat. I think I touched on most of everything. Let's see here. Yes, Carolyn, just send me a message. Our Star Princess cruise is in Alaska, which is one of the first of its Alaska season. Yes, yes. Welcome in, Team Reese Travels. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Miss Naturalized, welcome in. And we'll take this last question here. From Daniel Barberson says, hello, been watching these Explorer 2 videos. Where do they show the shorter 5-day cruises? Okay, so this is the thing. I think this is what's happening. So, like, I've been monitoring Explorer Journeys for a while. And at one point, Explorer Journeys only had 7-night cruises or longer. Periodically, if you go onto their website and you search, you're going to notice that there's going to be 4 and 5-night sailings popping up. That's what happened with my sailing. My sailing did not always exist, but what happened is the sailing that I was on was a longer cruise. I think at some point, Explorer must look at their inventory and say, okay, we're only at 25% capacity. We need to get this ship full. So then they go in and they tweak the itinerary and they offer the shorter sailings. Now, no one has told me this, but just in my observation, having booked a few clients on Explorer Journeys and just my own research, because I've been researching Explorer for some time, my 4-night sailing popped up, and like after I booked, it went away. If you go on Explorer Journeys right now, you can filter it by, and I'm doing it right now while I'm on the thing. I did post a couple of them a couple weeks ago, and I think one of them is no longer available. So it's almost like they're allowing so many people to book the shorter sailings and then they remove it because they really ideally want people on the 7 to 9 to 12 night sailings. But if they could squeeze on, 50 people for a 4-night sailing so that they can have the cabin partially full, I think that's what they're doing. So if you go on the Explore Journeys website, and for instance, I'm just going to filter through all of these months. I'm looking May through, and sorry, I wish I could share my screen with you guys while I'm doing this. I'm just going to filter right now from May all the way to, I think they're available now until 2027. So they have itineraries out now through November 2027. So I'm selecting all of the months. So if you do that, it's going to pop up 431 journeys. If you search from there, then you can go to your you can go to where it says sort by. You sort by days ascending. So when you select days ascending, you're going to get some sailings to pop up. So right now there's a 4-night, November 2nd through the 6th of this year, the same exact itinerary that I did from Barcelona to Lisbon. Right now it's $22.95 per guest. That's the lowest rate. Let me give you guys a solo rate. Hold on. Let me give you the solo rate on that. So you can filter under the advanced settings to solo traveler. Now, guys, I'm telling you how to walk through this. Don't book your cruise online. Reach out to me. Don't book it. Reach out to me and I will help get you booked and help you along the way with everything you need to know about Explore Journeys. But right now, the solo. So if you wanted to do the same itinerary that I did, but for November, it's currently $2,800. So $2,870 is the lowest price. It could get higher depending on the type of suite, because remember, all the cabins on there are suites. So the lowest price right now is at $2,870. You could do a 5-night, November 6th through the 11th, from Lisbon to Barcelona. So again, see what they did there. So the first sailing that I just mentioned was November 2nd, and then the next one ends in Barcelona on November 11th. So that was initially a 9-night sailing that they split. So you could also book the 9-night sailing. So you can book the 9-night sailing, or you can book the 4 nights for the beginning or the 5 nights for the beginning or for the end, if that makes sense. That's what Explorer is doing. And they weren't doing this before. So I think somebody in the financial department is like, we got to make the most money we can. We got to fill these ships up. So let's take these longer itineraries and split them. So you could do the 9-night sailing, or within that same 9 nights, you could do 4 nights or you could do 5 nights. So when I disembarked the ship, there weren't many people getting off at all because people were doing the 9-night sailing. So that's what Explorer is doing. So I don't think that these shorter sailings stay available long. They probably allow so many people to book them and then they remove them because they really want people to book the 9-night sailings. You could also do a 5-night, which I'll be honest, I'm eyeballing it. There's a 5-night for November 12th through November 17th of this year, from Miami to Barbados, 3130. So one guest, $3,130 for one guest. So yeah, so that's where you can go. There's one from Denmark going to Germany. That one's too expensive. That's $7,000. No, I'm not doing that. There's a 5 night from Egypt to Athens, March 20th of 2027. 5 night, $3,300. So that's how I'm finding those deals. So just go in, filter to days ascending, and then you can figure out which sailing works. But do not book it on the website. Reach out to Major Adventures Travel, and we will help get you booked. Um, it says Explorer does sail out of Miami. Yes, it does sail out of Miami November 12th. Yep, it does. And again, it's seasonal. So it's not always going to sail out of Miami. It's very seasonal. Let's see here. Missing any questions? Miss Naturalist says our neighbors roast pigs as well, and it's tasty with their black beans and rice plantains. I know it is. I noticed I'm very mental with things, and when I saw that pig's face, I was like, oh, I can't. I had a hamburger, and I love pork, and I think I had pork that morning, but I couldn't. That poor pig. Cruising Charlie says almost 100 likes. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes before we end this. We're going to end it in like 2 minutes. Keisha H says, right, save the headache, book with RacQuelle. Absolutely, absolutely. Tracy says, if you have to pick a ship, the Grandiosa or Seaside, I would pick Grandiosa. I did sail on MSC Grandiosa, and in fact, it's our top watch series on our channel. I sailed on MSC Grandiosa in the Mediterranean 2 years ago with my sisters. MSC Seaside is probably my least favorite MSC ship, and it was only because of the experience that I had, which was very different than my other experiences on board MSC. And it just had to do with it being one of the first sailings once it repositioned from Europe over. The crew just was not trained properly. So the customer service just wasn't there. Our cabin was filthy, and I did post some videos of that. Just not good customer service. They didn't want to accommodate my son because, our son, you guys know Andrew, he's autistic. He's very particular about what he eats. They wouldn't even make him just a plain cheeseburger. So it was like the customer service, it was very different on Seaside. I've heard that it's changed. I would probably will get back on board at some point, but if I had to pick between Grandiosa and Seaside, I would go with Grandiosa. Um, Let's see here. Welcome in, Iris. Hope you're having a great time on board Celebrity Beyond. Happy Memorial Day to you. Thanks for popping in. Deborah says, did you find it easy to cruise from Barcelona? Have you cruised from Lisbon? It is easy to cruise from Barcelona. The thing is, right now there's a lot of traffic in Barcelona. And so wherever you stay, just anticipate there being a long wait getting to the cruise terminal. And the Ubers and taxis just are not very reliable at all. And we experienced that when we first cruised out of Barcelona 2 years ago. If you guys caught it, like I was literally vlogging and putting Uber up, and Ubers kept canceling, or they would say it was this wait. That literally still is happening. That happened when I was in Barcelona. I waited like 45 minutes for my Uber after, because I typically, whenever I'm in a hotel, I'll schedule my Uber and I don't go down until like it says 3 or 4 minutes left. So I literally checked out because it said I had 3 or 4 minutes, and I stood on the street corner for like 45 minutes waiting on an Uber because they kept canceling. So for me, that is the hardest part of cruising out of Barcelona, but the cruise terminal, the port area, very easy. I have not cruised out of Lisbon, but I have ended in Lisbon twice. But I have not cruised out of Lisbon yet. All right. I think that is it. I think that is it. Well, I appreciate you guys being here for this Monday Midday Cruise Q&A. If you have not watched my Explore Journeys vlogs, please be sure to check those out. I will not be live, or I don't think I'll be live on Monday. I might be. We'll see. I might do a pop-up cruise Q&A from, oh my gosh, what ship am I getting on? Ovation of the Seas. I might do a pop-up from there. I think we're in port that day though, which is Ensenada, which I don't even know what we're doing. I think we're just gonna get off and get some tacos. Um, so we'll see. I might go live. So stay tuned for that. But it might be 2 weeks or so before I go live again for cruise Q&A. But if you are looking to plan a cruise adventure, whether it's Explore Journeys or any other cruise line, feel free to reach out to Major Adventures Travel. We do have an inquiry form. If you need us to do research for you, if you could complete the inquiry form on our website, which is majoradventurestravel.com. If you fill that out, we'll follow up within, right now we're operating about 5 business days. So sometimes sooner, but if you know what you want to book, feel free to just send us an email. We'll help get you booked. But any last questions? Hanging with the Howard says, you on Ovation Saturday? Me too. Yes, I will be on board Ovation of the Seas. Make sure you stop and say hello. Yep, I will be on board with Joe Marie. So super excited to, and it'll be our first time on Ovation of the Seas. So really excited for that. Um, says we finally get to meet you. Yeah, we'll meet, and yeah, it'll be a good time. It's gonna be a very short cruise though. So, but I will see you. I will see you on board. I'm sure there's gonna be some others on board as well. But I think that is it. I appreciate you guys being here. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button on your way out, I would greatly appreciate it. It really just helps the algorithm to send more people to our channel, and we can share more cruise content with you guys. But stay tuned because we have Ovation of the Seas coming up this week. Follow us on Instagram because that's where Instagram and Facebook. That's where I'm going to post some real time information and things. And then just a quick thing. Jo Marie doesn't know this, but we're going to Disneyland on Friday, so she doesn't know that. But so stay tuned for that. I'll be posting some pictures and some shorts for that. Not shorts, what are they called? Stories for that. Then we're on Quantum of the Seas, June 9th through the 16th for Alaska. I'll be posting a ton of content for that. Then I come home, and there's another cruise that's kind of tentative right now. I won't announce it, but that may be happening. And then we have some more cruises coming this summer. So stay tuned for that. And if you're a channel member and you've been here watching, I appreciate you guys being channel members. But I appreciate you guys all being here today. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day. And yeah, stay blessed. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for being here.